everyone, and welcome to the fifth episode of HSBC's all-new roundtable series, Scale to Succeed. Today, as businesses power their next phase of growth and business continuity, your story is proud to partner with HSBC to feature entrepreneurs and industry stalwarts to engage in inspiring conversations and share valuable insights and groundbreaking lessons from their experiences. In today's episode, the spotlight is on Indian startups scripting success stories beyond boundaries. While India is a big market to be truly successful, a venture has to look at the world as its playground. And as India leapfrogs among global economies, increasing number of Indian startups are expanding their global footprint. Now, a decade ago, it would have been difficult to think of a young Indian company becoming global so very quickly. Global aspiration would need to be supported by a global outlook clubbed with huge capital investments. Now, fast forward to today, there are more Indian unicorns and sub-unicorn startups heading for global shores. But the road to globalization is not easy. While there are opportunities galore, the journey to global success has its own share of problems and challenges. We are joined by entrepreneurs who have turned globetrotters with their journeys with us. But before that, let me quickly introduce you all to my co-moderator for this session. Please welcome Vineet Sinha, who is the Senior VP and Country Lead International Business Banking at HSBC India. Over to you, Vineet, to introduce our panel.
Thank you so much, Priya. So lovely to be around as a co-moderator for the evening today. I have with me the eclectic panel. I have Akshay Chaturvedi, co-founder, Leverage EDU, and I have Subramaniam. Does not need any introduction. Subramaniam is the co-founder of Disperse, and I have Nitin Rana, co-founder, Go Mechanic. A warm welcome to everyone. Let's start the session for today.
Well, thanks for that introduction, Vineet. I'm going to quickly dive into this conversation, and I have one question which I'm directing to each of you. Having built up your competencies in this tough and extremely competitive market like India, you all have acquired sufficient capacity to crack the global markets as well. For the benefit of all startup entrepreneurs out there who are watching us today, what is the one key aspect that a startup needs to be clear before pursuing an international expansion? Subramaniam, let's start with you.
Sure. So I can talk about my personal experience at Disperse. So my co-founder Kuljit and I, from day one, we were clear that we were building for the globe. We never restricted our aspirations for within India. We wanted to build from India for the globe. So the moment you have that mindset, then from a product standpoint, from a sales standpoint, from a customer experience standpoint, you already start to craft in certain thoughts, certain nuances that make sure that you don't really super specialize only for the local market, which in our case is India. So I think having an ambition to be global from day one is important. The second thing is we are a SaaS company. We are an enterprise SaaS company. We provide learning and skilling platforms for mid-market and enterprise companies to solve their upskilling problem. Now, you can actually make a lot of choices architecturally. So you don't assume that your product is just made for one language. You don't assume that your product is just made for one locale, etc. So from day one, you architect for just as you architect for scale, you also architect for different languages. That's two basic things that I can think of.
Well, thanks for that perspective. Let's bring you in, Akshay.
No, I think for us, it was slightly different. I think it wasn't ambition from day one, but I think it was necessity from day one. We're in a study about platform and by design. We have to be international from day zero. We don't have essentially a choice about that. And I think what we did differently was that majority of companies have essentially been in the study abroad space have largely focused on just playing full stack on the demand side and largely not thinking too much or kind of largely not building a services layer or a product for the supply side, which is the universities in this case. Whereas I think we were the first company to actually go full stack on the supply side as well. We started opening up offices in UK. Now we're going to open up an office in Australia as well. And we started building products for universities as well to kind of make their end of the entire process more seamless. We built out enrollment management solutions for universities. We built out small tools for them to improve the turnaround time on offers, improve the turnaround time on visas and things like that. So I think it was It was more about just following the customer, solving things one by one, and realizing that what use case will really be kind of helpful in improving the life of the customer a little bit more. And I think even though we might be expanding today and looking at other countries, I think the goal definitely is not to say that I will do international expansion, I'm going to send 10 countries, I'll dominate, so on and so forth. I think the outlook is still that of a startup. The outlook is still to measure every single dollar. The outlook is still to attribute every single piece of expense that we're making. And I think the way we look at international expansion is that we think about winning multiple micro markets. Now that micro market could be a locality in Lagos, where we are present right now, or a locality in Dubai or somewhere else in Philippines or Vietnam or Bangladesh or wherever that be. And it could be a couple of micro markets in India as well. So not necessarily play a blue ocean strategy and say that, okay, I'll go all over the place and it's such a huge deal to be kind of an international company. But I think for us, it's just about keeping low and just serving those micro markets well, where we could essentially be the dominant player.
Well, thanks for that, Akshay. Nitin, what are your perspectives on this?
Right. First of all, thanks a lot for you guys for having me. Right. So, Go Mechanic belongs to the auto industry, right? And auto industry has been the engine of the economic growth across all the countries out there, right? And for India as well, right? So, what I believe is for any startup which is looking out for expanding outside the Indian boundaries, right? So I guess the first thing everyone should talk about and think about the similar market problems which for which they are building the product, right? And also for the kind of a purchase behavior the people outside India have, right? So if I talk about the Go Mechanic, right? So our Go Mechanic is we started with the services first here, right? And for servicing in developed countries, it would not work, right? Because there is a DIY culture, right? But in the developing countries like India, right? Like countries like Malaysia, like Indonesia, right? Countries in the MENA region, right? So they are up for it, right? People are looking for services. The same kind of the product can be directly replicated in those economies as well, right? So I believe that's first of all, you only think about the right product which can be replicated with the same problem in other countries. Yeah.
Right. Thanks so much for that, Nitin. Let's come back to you, Subramaniam. In this age where skilling and learning is a very, very important weapon for business growth, how do you think companies should really ace their overall skilling challenge and scale global markets? What has been your strategy for the future of skilling and innovation, is part of the entire learning and development process?
Yeah, so reskilling, we use the word right skilling as one word that covers upskilling, reskilling, and cross skilling. COVID has really disrupted the world. We now live in a digital first world where more than half of customer interactions are actually digital. So pre-pandemic, we were talking about a digital future, everything going digital by 2030, but that's actually happened. Now the what was supposed to happen in 10 years has pretty much happened in 2 years. So which means that we live in a world where digital business models, digital first customer service, digital first sales are actually are no longer growth engines of the future, but they're happening right now. Now, is the workforce of today ready for it? The answer is no. They are still anchored on older business models and therefore older ways of skilling. Now, the best way companies can actually overcome this challenge is first start from the top down. The CEO has to set the agenda of skilling. The CEO has to make it clear to the entire company that you need to be ready for the future. Second is a good place to start is to put in place a very good learning budget, learning and development budget. And the third is create the right incentive structures within the company where learning is not just HR's responsibility. Learning becomes every business head's responsibility, every functional head's responsibility, and to create a culture where people are measured on learning. People are measured on, are they spending enough time upskilling themselves? So if the right operating system can be created by the CEO, that is often a good start. And most people actually want to learn, want to get better at work and life, but they don't have the time for it. The moment the organization creates the right incentive structure, the right operating model to incentivize learning, then skilling often starts to happen.
Right, very interesting perspective. Akshay, I want to come back to you. You recently raised about 167 crore rupees in your Series B round of funding. You're going to be using these funds to expand in existing geographies, Australia, India, Nigeria, basically to bolster the larger student network that you have. They're also looking at initial launch in a couple of countries. So can you elaborate a little bit on your overall expansion plans?
Oh, sure, Priya. I'll go back to what I left with, and I'll kind of echo some of what Subramaniam was saying. I think the larger goal here is not to kind of tick mark X number of countries, but the larger goal is to understand who our customer really is. I think even though I think even past Series B, we're still a startup, we're still trying to identify a lot of universal truths that work for us and understand where can we kind of really serve this customer at the best cost possible. We have realized that there are pockets across the world that we can serve in the same way. I think just going back to the point that Nitin also made a couple of minutes back, there are pockets across other developing economies that you can serve in a similar manner with the same product. And at the right cost, it kind of makes sense for you to do that as well. Like I said, not necessarily a tick marking exercise, not an ego boosting job of sorts, but ensuring that for example, I'll give you an example. The Indian study abroad market is right now growing with a 37% CAGR, which means that we export a lot of things out of India. We don't export anything as well as we export our people. But there is a Nigerian market which is growing at even faster pace. Nigerian market is growing at a 75% CAGR. So it makes no sense for me to not think about doing what I'm doing in Bombay or Delhi or Bangalore or Gurdaspur or Ernakulam or Vijayawada. Do the same thing in pockets of Lagos and other parts of Nigeria as well. Or kind of do the similar thing in Venezuela or Philippines. And in our business, we also have seen that as we open multiple countries in the supply side, which is where the students kind of finally end up going to, that defines where we should be kind of setting up a student base next. For example, just to kind of give an example, we see a lot of students from the Indian subcontinent end up going to places like UK and Canada. But we see when we think about Australia, there are the Indian students out there, but we also have students from Vietnam going in big hordes to Australia. So it makes absolute sense for us to kind of go and replicate the same thing in Vietnam as well. So I think largely defined by business outcomes and kind of serving the right customer at the right price and ensuring that we grow in the right way. I think that's also in fashion right now.
Absolutely, not just the tick marking exercise. Thanks for that, Akshay. Nitin, you made a deep foray into the whole auto spare parts space as well. And I believe you're looking at making India an innovation hub specifically in the auto aftermarket technology and services space. So tell us, where it stands as of now and how this fits in your overall plans in your growth journey.
Right. So basically, we thanks to the government of India for this Make in India initiative, right? And you can see that there is a manufacturing boom across all the industries in India, and thanks to that, the automotive industry is benefiting a lot out of it. And so this is what we are taking out to the other economies as well, right? We are promoting more and more India manufactured goods and the spare parts and in other economies, right? So like Akshay mentioned, they are doing business in Lagos, right? We are also doing a lot of business in Lagos and Nigeria area, right? We are taking Indian manufactured goods there and selling across the auto markets out there, right? So I guess there's also one more thing which has recently happened, that which is the geopolitical shift in the political shift in the reordering and the supply chain, right? Where China used to dominate, right? And now people, I'll tell you a recent example. There was a recent summit in Noida for the auto manufacturers, right? We have received a lot of people from the Russia and from other neighboring countries as well, right? The only pain point was that we want to have some other choice as well besides China, right? This is what they are looking forward to, right? So Go Mechanic in its capacity putting a lot of efforts to to service the markets like Latin America, this MENA market, and the Southeast Asia market also.
Right. Thanks for that, Nitin. I believe, Vineet, you have a couple of questions for the panelists as well.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I was in fact hearing them very, very clearly. Subbu, let me quickly come back to you. And as we know, upskilling has become absolutely imperative for individuals and also for the organizations, including bank like HSBC, all of us, especially after post-COVID age. Now, my question is, and the fact that a lot of organizations are responding to the fast changing world, and there's a need to upskilling. My question is, but are they investing enough? My thought is, if an organization is investing, are they investing enough for upskilling their ambition or upskilling more to the people to ultimately reach to the goal the organization want? So your thoughts, Subbu?
It's certainly getting better, and companies can do better. So in 2019, the global learning and development spend was about 360 billion. I suspect it's got up to about close to 500 billion, or certainly close to 450 billion right now. A simple rule of thumb is spend 5% of your top line on learning and development and skilling. And typically, if you look at generally as a trend, Western market companies, developed market companies spend closer to that number. And there also there is a spread. Emerging market companies spend less. But also, larger the company, the more they spend on learning and development. So companies that have above 5,000 employees tend to spend more on upskilling. But the golden number is 5%. Indian companies are lagging behind. The large companies are leading the way. But it's shifting in the right direction. Today, skilling and getting ready from a skill set standpoint for the future is now very much part of the CEO's language, because CEOs now realize that rather than hire talent, upskilling your talent internally and getting them ready for the new roles is a much cost-effective way to actually get talent than actually getting them from outside. So skilling has become part of the CEO's agenda. And learning and development budgets are swinging in the right direction. I hope they continue to remain that way.
Thank you, Subbu. Thank you. Akshay, if I can come back to you, as you know, the worldwide edtech business is undergoing a digital transition. And as you said, with more than 130% growth being forecasted for the next 5 years, which would benefit people from all socioeconomic and geographical origins. What have been some of your key learnings and experience in your efforts to transform the sector? Because people are really looking up to the edtech sector overall from the social and the human agenda as well.
Interesting. I think I can divide this in two pieces. I would say there are two ways to look at it. One is that customers are adapting digital solutions like ours, and that's why you're taking the time to chat with us as well this afternoon. And I think second is I'll just kind of echo Subbu's sentiments there, and I'm a big believer of the same ethos that invests back in people a lot. And the second way of looking at it is that, okay, you're making tech for your customers. Are you making tech for your internal customers as well, your teammates, your employees, all of that? So I think we divide tech in that way. I think in our category, we did not have a lot of universities believe in working with digital players. So COVID was a big blessing for us, because that essentially also opened universities' eyes to saying that I can work with digital players, and also students realized that, okay, I can make a decision which is worth 10, 15, 20, 25 lakh rupees, as important as going to college on a website or on an app as well. So I think that was a big change for us. And in fact, we saw our organic traffic grow from about 300K to 9 million in the 18 months from the beginning of the pandemic to about now. So massive 30x sorts increase. We built out a platform called Unique Connect, which was a direct platform for students to directly speak to universities. Universities use very basic AI and directly speak to students who are relevant to their program, so that those students can do well in those specific programs that they're recruited for. We launched a study abroad app that is a big hit, which has about close to 300,000 downloads right now. But what we also more importantly did is we built out a lot of solutions for our internal teams as well. We built out an app called Launchpad, which is we have 1,000+ counselors right now in the ecosystem, in the leverage ecosystem, who essentially work with say about 150,000 students every single month and counsel them. So we essentially built out a tool for them to be able to kind of do better counseling, for them to be able to kind of have all the resources at their disposal at all times, for them to be able to kind of have updated information at all times. We launched something called Leverage Premier League. So we gamified how we essentially also ensure that these guys are able to have enough interest garnered from a learning perspective. So I think all of those things really helped us keep the workforce also super energized. And I'm again going back to Subbu's point, ensure that because we at the end of the day, you realize after a few years into in the company building exercise that it's all about people. And you really need to kind of make sure that people are enjoying having a fun time, and they also believe that they're essentially scaling up and up and up. So I think we've really focused on using tech to ensure that internal teams are motivated, skilled up, and that in turn will ensure that the customers have a great experience as well.
Sure. Thank you, Akshay. This Premier League seems to be a very, very wonderful idea. Let me also copy and paste it to my organization. Nitin, if I can come back to you quickly. So you have built a network of more than 900 odd workshops in over 60 cities in India. And now I've been spreading across Europe, UK, Middle East, North America, etc. How different has your experience been in starting and building the business across different geographies?
Right, Vineet. So basically, in India, we figured out that there's a need of a product, right? And basically the automotive aftermarket works in a very in a very offline manner, be it India or be it any other country, right? So everywhere you can see there's a network of multi-brand workshops, right? There's a offline way of managing the spare parts across the countries, across the cities, right? So what we thought of bringing, and there is no MRP of any kind of services, right? If you want to get your car serviced, there is no MRP. Any random workshop will charge you any random price, right? So first of all, we thought of bringing the transparency to that and also to put an MRP to that the customer should not pay more than that for this particular job, right? So our services app does a really good job in that, and we recently have opened somewhere around 100+ workshops in Malaysia region also, right? And we are getting the similar kind of acceptance there as well, because the very good part about the tech is that where the needs are similar, right? Your tech has not to be different. What we have just done, we just changed the currency pricing. That's all we have done, right? And it is directly replicable to the other economies as well, right? And over the spare parts, what we have done, like we have mapped the 7 million SKUs against each and every model and variant of your cars, right? There are more than 200+ more models and in India itself, right? And there would be another 2,000 variants of those 200 models, right? So we have what we have done, we have mapped 7 million SKUs to these each and every variant of the vehicles available in India, right? And I'm talking about only the passenger vehicles, and not the two-wheelers and the commercial vehicles, right? There's a job to do, right? So basically, the same thing can be replicable in all the other geographies as well. So if I tell you the big shots of North America, like AutoZones and the O'Reillys of the world, who have been working in a very offline manner from generations to generations, right? Right, and they have also started figuring out the need of that there's a online play of it, there is a digital play in it, right? So we have already done the job for that, right? What we would do, we just need the data of the cars available in a particular geography, and we just need to map the parts to the specific catalog, and that's it, the job is done, right? So that's how we see that how our products are applicable in all the geographies, and where the consumer requirements lies. So I guess with scale, yes, consumers are accepting it, and I also believe in automotive aftermarket there has been a need for such kind of the product, right? And that's where we are.
Right. Absolutely. I think very, very interesting perspectives. In fact, the reason I'm barging into this conversation is because I have a question for you, Vineet. For, for a business that's set to grow at speed and scale, having a banking partner is, of very, very equal importance, because, you need an agile and efficient banking partner. And today, a bank's role goes much beyond just offering financial products, solutions, and even assistance to businesses. It needs to don the hat of a strategic partner, as I may call it, on the business's roadmap to growth. So, want to understand, how is HSBC, as a banking partner, empowering startups at large?
Sure. Thank you, Priya. We are a global organization having presence in more than 50 plus countries. So honestly, international is something which comes quite naturally to all of us, particularly for small and medium companies and the startups. They need much more than a vanilla banking industry. Just to give you a little example of our global relationship manager concept, this surely helped the customer to have a one point of contact in the bank, which help him to have a interaction at a headquarter level, who in turn, the GRM in turn, work with the local relationship manager in all other countries. So by and large, it's like one person you are talking to, who has the complete holistic view of all the global relationship. Now, one more tool which may be quite exciting for the startup to sort of know is, we can help you setting up your global account sitting in India. So what we are covering, one is it is quite easy when you plan to spread your wings outside India and want to have a bank account set up sitting here. That's quite a great help item, because if you literally want to set up a bank account, you need to travel. Our local presence ensure that we give a lot of ease of doing business and verifying these KYCs, etc., for the Indian customer who are planning to go outside. We have something called a HSBC Net, which is a global international kind of a net banking platform, quite strong one. This sort of help you and enable the companies to see all his domestic as well as international bank account through one single login and password. So what help does it really make for the startup or the company? It's like moving the fund from left pocket to right pocket. Two, it is quite efficient and commercially very, very easy to the pocket. So these startups need a lot of hand holding at a very early stage of their journey. So HSBC does not only provide you a banking service, but it goes beyond banking as well. So we are few of the banks in India who are helping the Indian SME to go international, and we have done it for a lot of Indian startups who have made their presence in international market, and you will find HSBC in their as their trusted banking partners.
Absolutely. I think very, very important and interesting to see the kind of journey so many businesses have had, and the kind of strategic advice and help that will help them take it to the next level of growth. So on that note, thank you everybody for joining us and sharing all your valuable insights with us. And we are absolutely hoping that the Indian startup ecosystem makes huge strides in the coming years. So thanks for everybody who's tuned into the session, and it's been a pleasure hosting all of you. Thanks so much.